Hi guys, it's Marco here from Game Zone, and today I'm joined with Pippa. We've just got back from the PlayStation media briefing for E3, and we just thought we'll go through what we sort of thought was cool about and what we kind of were concerned about and all the best trailers that we saw. I mean, what do you think about the event overall, Pippa?
I think that the really nice thing about the PlayStation event, is particularly after attending the Xbox one the previous day, is that it felt very game centric, which I quite liked. I mean, I think everyone was expecting a big hardware announcement, and that wasn't the case. It wasn't anything like that, but you really got the sense that they didn't care. They were very much like, we're not going to engage in that whole like hardware war thing, and we're just going to showcase the games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guy came onto stage twice, and he was there for like 30 seconds, and there was no sales number fluff.
Not at all. I mean, it was like, he came on, gave like he spoke for maybe a minute each time,
and that's it.
And walked off, and there was an hour show.
Yeah, and which is nice because I mean, Sony's got this history of coming onto stage and kind of like saying, we partnering with this person. I mean, even the Call of Duty this year, they didn't chat about any early map DLC access, which is something that they do every single year. So it was nice for them just to have the games as a focus, and that's what they did. And the games were really cool as well.
And I think the one thing that's sort of worth noting here is that what I've kind of picked up from people on social media is that a lot of people seemed quite underwhelmed by the Sony conference and quite disappointed. And those are people who are watching it on the stream.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I think is worth pointing out that, I mean, I didn't watch the stream, but that's because we were actually there, and seeing the stage show and the presentation was amazing. They really know how to put on a show. I mean, there's elements that were actual like physical objects like on the stage and coming out into the audience and moving screens and the lights and everything, and I think that that's something you just don't pick up from the stream, which I think all of that contributes to the impact of the trailer.
Like the whole experience. I mean, there was the Call of Duty had explosions at the back.
Yeah, every time someone threw a grenade, there was an explosion on stage.
And then there was like snow, there was like foam falling from the roof of the auditorium, which was like, it looked like snow when they announced the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. It was just like those finer things that we appreciated, but it was a pity that the stream, you couldn't see that on the stream. I mean, what you did see on the stream was just a bunch of games, and that's the most important thing that I think, like once again, we say that Sony wanted us to see the games that they have for us, and that's what they did.
Yeah, no, I agree. I felt like I don't think it's really fair to compare. I mean, we're sitting here talking about Sony now, but like we did attend the Xbox One yesterday, and I don't know that it is fair to compare, but I did feel like Xbox was very rehearsed.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have teleprompters, but it felt very, very rehearsed, and that, like they were reading from the script. And there was a lot of fluff, but I don't know how much of it. I mean, it's not that there weren't games that I wasn't excited about it. At the Xbox One, like Assassin's Creed. I mean, oh my God, Assassin's Creed. But it did feel like there was quite a contrast between the two.
I mean, we discussed how many times we heard world exclusive and world premiere and
world premiere.
Like Microsoft made it their plan to make sure that every single person in the audience and watching online knew exactly what that game, how exclusive that game was. And if you look at them, there was only about 8 Xbox One exclusive games out of all the 44.
Apparently there were 22.
Yeah, but only 8 of them were actually true Xbox One exclusives. So you can put as much fluff in your briefing as possible, but the truth of the matter is that Sony has the line up there, and today's expo showed that off. And Spider-Man, I mean, Spider-Man looks amazing.
Yeah, Spider-Man is the one of all of those that it's probably, I don't know if it's the one I'm most excited about, but it's certainly right up there.
Yeah, and it's about time that we got some gameplay there, because it's kind of been a while. But there was also some, I mean, Ni no Kuni 2. There was a few games that we know are coming out. I mean, they have release dates. Ni no Kuni 2 is releasing this year. We don't know when yet, but we know it's releasing. It should be announced. It should be revealed tomorrow at the press conference. But
one thing I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't show in the showcase, but at least it was on the floor, so you could play it. Was Knack 2.
Yes.
And I mean, so Knack is one of those games that I really feel like got a bit of a bad rap. Like it came out, it was one of the launch games with the original PS4, and I know that there was a lot of disappointment around it. Everyone sort of said it didn't feel like a next gen game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose, as we were discussing earlier, you know, releasing alongside Killzone.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think it was kind of, I think a lot of people felt it was quite underwhelming, but it's a really
cool
fun game.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just one of those, like a really
it
nice...
It has its audience though.
Exactly, nice, fun platformer. And it's not just a kid's audience. I mean, yes, my eldest son loves it, but it's not just a kid's game. It's one of those, it's a nice, like, fun, enjoyable platformer. And so I was really happy to see a Knack 2. I kind of didn't really think that they would make another one.
No, me either. I thought it was finished after the first one.
And they've added co-op to it. So it's a really cool addition to the game.
And we saw some gameplay, and it looks really cool. I think it's going to be like something. If you have that couch car partner that you always play games with, then it's going to be the game that you want to try.
Oh, totally.
And that's releasing in September as well.
At the beginning of September. I don't remember the exact date.
I think it's like around the 7th. But again, that was not at the press conference, and it was one of Sony's games.
It was playable on the floor before the press conference, but it wasn't one of the trailers that they showcased.
And then sadly, there was no Last of Us 2, no Last of Us Part 2 at all.
That was the one I think was really missing.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people really expected to see, and absolutely nothing, not a hint of anything, not anything from a trailer or anything playable on the floor, no teaser trailer.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing, and that for me was a bit
It
disappointing.
wasn't even in their montage.
Not at the
trailer
end. Not
nothing.
at all. I think that was a bit disappointing. I was kind of expecting something.
Yeah. I mean, The Last of Us. And I know Naughty Dog are just want to pump out the Lost Legacy, Uncharted one.
The Lost Legacy.
Yeah. So you have to give it to them that they're busy with that. So The Last of Us will happen when it happens, but. You know, it would have been like even like a little teaser or some sort of trailer would have got every fan like very excited, and there was nothing.
Just speaking of fans, because it's always been a game that has a major following. God of War. Yeah, I mean, that was a big one. I mean, we've all been expecting that for a while. I mean, they've sort of made reference to it before, but this was a really nice. Cool look at
it was like a 5-minute gameplay trailer, and it showed some combat and some of the weapons, and then I don't know if you saw, there was this one part in the trailer that the new Kratos, I don't know his name, he was looking at this like urn.
I saw someone refer to him on Twitter as Dad of War. He's got this big beard. He does look a bit like a dad.
But like he was looking at the urn in like this like treasure room, and you saw Kratos there with his 2 daggers. So it seems like this is somehow linked to the original trilogy. We just have to wait and see what happens. But it's definitely one of those games that we're looking out for. And Horizon Zero Dawn's getting DLC.
Yes, it is.
And the fans, I think the fans went like ballistic. Like the hall went crazy when they announced that, because everybody loved Horizon Zero Dawn. Everybody wants more content on it. And again, like everything else, Sony's delivering the games, and that's part of it.
The one that I was quite keen on. Now, so bearing in mind that I don't really like a horror game, like games that like give me a fright. I just they freak me out a little bit too much, and I don't really play them. But there were 2. So the one was The Inpatient, which was a VR announcement. So quite vague trailer. I mean, it's one of those like teaser announcement trailers, but looks like a sort of survival horror type game, which I thought looked quite cool. I think it has maybe a lot of potential. Particularly, I mean, survival horror on VR.
That's a whole nother ball game there. You're right.
Yeah, I mean that could be insanely awesome or really insanely freaky. But the other one is Days Gone.
Yes, Days Gone. That was also very early in the show. We watched that, and that trailer was very cool.
Yeah,
and it looked so beautiful. That game and we know it's running on PS4 Pro, and the screen that we're watching on it is HDR. and it's 4K. And so if that's the game that we saw that we're going to be getting, like, I'm very excited because that game looks absolutely stunning.
Like really like creepy, but creepy in a like creepy combat. If that makes any sort of sense. So like, you know, undead zombie things. I mean, I suppose I don't, you know, you don't know.
It's like sort of like a World War Z zombie.
Yeah, kind of exactly.
Super fast, super powerful.
So so quite fast moving, and not just zombie people. It's also sort of like zombie animals, which was quite cool. The bear at the end of that trailer, gameplay trailer, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I'm happy in general that they're also focusing on some VR stuff because
well, I think it's not just some stuff. There was a very huge number of VR
even at the
titles.
mixer, even at the pre-media briefing, there was a few VR things on display there as well. I mean, Skyrim, Fallout 4 VR is not. It doesn't look like it's coming to PSVR because Bethesda announced it yesterday officially for PC. So at least we're going to get Skyrim VR because they announced Skyrim VR, and I think that's pretty cool because I would love to play Skyrim with a VR headset on.
I'm a massive Skyrim fan, so yeah, I would totally play that. It does make me sort of wonder though. I mean, they just announced Morrowind, the Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Now, granted, that's the Elder Scrolls Online, so I do totally understand that. But nevertheless, I kind of feel like Skyrim's quite a few years old now. I mean, is it really worth revisiting as VR? Yeah. It's not to say that I wouldn't play it. I mean, I loved Skyrim, and then of course there's a Switch. Skyrim's coming to Switch as well. So they're obviously expanding it and sort of trying to bring it to different markets. But I do kind of feel like a game that's that old,
I feel like Skyrim has become that, you know, when Doom, you know, the original Doom can be played on anything, and people have ported it to the Apple Watch, and people have ported it to like the microwaves. I feel like Skyrim has become that.
Skyrim's going to be the next microwave port.
Skyrim's become that game that is playable on anything. Like, people are porting it to anything, and I think the VR is just another step to show. Maybe it's a test to see what the reception's like. Maybe they want to release Fallout 4 VR, and they just want to see what the audience is like. But I think the idea of having to explore, I mean, Skyrim's a beautiful world, so I think it will just be a perfect fit for VR.
Yeah, but also for VR, I mean, Moss.
Yes.
So Moss is this really cool little mouse game. It's a little mouse. I mean, it looks a bit like a platformer.
Yeah,
so
I kind of got like a Studio Ghibli vibe from it, you know that.
Yeah. I mean, very very cute. Looks really sweet. They show that sort of the VR gameplay, but I mean, I suppose you don't really know exactly what it's like until you play it. But it looks like a game that almost certainly my kids would be interested in, but I think that I might be interested in it as well. Yeah,
no, I think it's cool. And also there was the Marvel vs. Capcom. The story looks cool. I think this whole new fighting games of 2017 have like a big focus on story. Injustice did.
Yeah.
Tekken, and now it's been confirmed that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has a dedicated story mode, and there's a demo now that you can download.
Yeah, exactly. The demo is available today. So and that was quite a nice announcement at the end of the trailer.
There's nothing like an E3. You can download this now. You can buy this right now. I love that type of thing because you instantly like want to get it. So yeah. Yeah.
Just the last one I kind of want to touch on. Well, I suppose last two. So the first is really an expanded version of the Uncharted Lost Legacy trailers that we've seen. And Uncharted, of course, an iconic PlayStation series. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, like after.
And this is the end, basically. I mean, they've already said that this is the last Uncharted chapter. Because if you played 4, and spoiler alert, it ends where you kind of like, okay, cool, this is happy, and this is the end of, you know, the series. You get that feeling of closure. So this last expansion, it's a standalone game. Yeah. This will be the last Uncharted, and it looks pretty cool. It looks
really awesome. It looks really awesome. Yeah. But then of course I think maybe to end off with the big closer for the conference, which was Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man. I mean, you said to me it's Batman but Spider-Man, and I got that vibe.
Which of course makes complete sense, but it totally was. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, sort of perched on top of things, like targeting enemies in the same way that we've come to expect from Batman. And and it hasn't been that other games haven't used the Batman game mechanic
Yeah, I mean,
and combat system.
Shadow of Mordor was a big
There was totally
influence,
totally influenced by Batman, and this feels the same, which is not a bad thing.
No,
I mean, the later Batmans have a great combat system.
And you know, I think if we haven't had good Spider-Man games,
yeah.
So if it works for Spider-Man, then I don't care. Let it be a Batman
I really hope it does. I mean, a lot of these games we look at and we get really excited about them, and then when you actually play them and you're like, it's not really what I was expecting. So I'm hoping that Spider-Man really is all that, because looking at that trailer looked amazing.
Yeah. It does. It looks very, very good. And I think the combat looks good and the exploration looks good, and I think it's also Insomniac Games I'm making, and they just genius, and that engine that it's running on just looks spectacular. But there is one more that we have to touch on because it was a very big surprise, is Monster Hunter World.
Yes. Yes.
And this, for me, I'm a big Monster Hunter fan, but I'm so, like, I love you, Nintendo, but I'm so tired of playing it on like a 3DS. And we'll be able to play it on PS4. Finally, there's a Monster Hunter game on the PlayStation family. And it's quite a big deal as well, which means that hopefully Capcom will be moving more into, you know, releasing it on other platforms. Because right now, if you live in like the West or if you live in SA, then chances are you're going to be playing Monster Hunter on a Nintendo platform, because that's the only one you can play it on. So it was quite big news for PS4 owners to get Monster Hunter on PS4.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, and that's the PlayStation wrap up. Like we are now heading off tomorrow to play the games, and we have.
So the E3 floor actually opens on Tuesday. So it's today for you guys, but tomorrow for us.
So we're gonna be playing Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, Origins, and like everything. So just stay tuned and let us know what you think about the PlayStation conference in the comments below. And then also what you're looking forward to, what you want us to bring to you, so we can make a plan. So yeah.
Cool.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye.
Hey. So, do it.
Yeah, he threw. Oh, come on. I wasn't gonna let him kill you. Besides, who the hell else around here knows how to rebuild a carburetor? Back up. Nice and slow. Don't make a sound.